The Drive Idaho Podcast has now been converted to the Fly Idaho Podcast as we are up and away with pilot Ross Engle. Ross, tell us about your experience as a pilot and what you do for the state of Idaho.
Yeah, so my experience, started out my aviation career in rural Bush, Alaska, and planes similar to this, and also similar to the state's King Air, and also similar to the state's 206. I flew up in the rural parts where those villages are not served by roads, so there's no road infrastructure, unlike the lower 40 like we have down here. So most of the people, cargo, mail, and food got transported via the air. It's a special time to not only learn about Alaska, but also to see kind of weather they have up there, the challenges they have with the different types of weather in Alaska. Also to learn about the culture from the Alaska natives was really fortunate for me. So that was what's kind of started off my aviation career. So this was a really good coming over here and flying very similar aircraft and also challenging landscapes like we have here in Idaho. So for the state of Idaho, I serve as a director of flight operations. However, that title, director of flight operations, is a very common title in any department. Basically, it's the manager of the flight department. So my job, I am responsible to make sure that the pilots are qualified to do their jobs. Also, the mechanics are qualified to do their jobs. I oversee the training schedules for the pilots and mechanics. In addition, I help send those folks to school when we need it. All pilots go to school a couple times a year for the turbine aircraft that we fly. We fly the Kodiak like we're flying right here. Of course, we fly the state's King Air as well. And also, I help our flight scheduler with the actual scheduling. I also oversee our training program, how we actually train our programs, when we actually on a pilot, and how we get them schooled up to join the flight line. In addition, I oversee the policies, a lot of the policies and standard operating procedures we have for the flight department. I maintain those documents as well, and that we are doing business in our operations in accordance with the FAA regulations. So make sure that we're doing everything safe and legally.
Ross, you talked about one of the parts of your job is the training. We're on a training flight right now. Why are flights like this important? What do you do when you go out and you fly? What are you training on?
A great question, Vince. Training flights are really important to a safe operation because it lends itself to pilot proficiency. A lot of times, as a pilot, it's like when you're driving a car, you simply get in your car and you drive from your garage, your house, to work. And so it's a very rote, very memorized and routine practice. And it becomes that way even in aviation when we're flying from our hangar to another airport. So by doing pilot proficiency training flights, we're going to do some other things besides just the normal operations. And that just keeps us sharp in our skills as airmen and airwomen.
Anybody listening to the Drive Idaho podcast right now is going to say that guy's got a pretty cool job. What is the best part of your job?
The best part of my job is I like to brag on the folks I work with. It is the people I work with at Aeronautics. And the variety. Besides that is the variety after the people at Aeronautics. There's a lot that we get to do. So it's a lot of flying. It's a lot of using your head to get creative with
terrain ahead.
How we make things work.
Terrain ahead.
1 second. Okay, so here's what I want to show you guys. This flat section right here. It's something you don't see very often in the sawtooth when it's so vertical. So it looks like that mountain just got sheared off the top there. This is called turns around a point. I put my wing on an object and I just turn around it. This is good maneuvering, especially when we're doing some search and rescue, looking for another airplane. The thing we do when we're doing mountain flying in the Idaho backcountry is you always got to get yourself in a position to turn downhill. You're crossing these high ridges. Right now, again, the unlikely event, we were to lose our engine or we gotten ourselves into a big downdraft. I could at least to the left here and head down the valley towards Atlanta. Kodiak 900 Kilo, Quebec, over Weatherby 7,500 for Atlanta. a few of the things I do for the state of Idaho as the director of flight operations.